The voices of children and their parents protesting the blended recommendation to return to Bozeman schools. I'm Cody Boyer at the rally with the story.
Also, the president speeding up the deadline for collecting census information. Coming up, political reporter Mike Dennison explains why that could be bad news for Montana as it hopes to gain a second congressional seat. Good morning, Southwest Montana. It is 6:30. Chet Lehman, Caitlin Corbett, Matt Elwell.
It's Thursday.
Justin, Jesse,
Thursday.
we're all here.
Yeah, we're all here in the building. Temperatures. Oh, John isn't in the building.
No.
Yeah, but that's all right.
He's here in spirit. Yeah.
He is.
And by
Temperatures this morning. My brain is moving in two different directions.
I got it.
Yeah. 50s this morning for most of us. A couple of 40s. We are keeping an eye on the radar. There are some showers showing up. A lot of that not hitting the ground. The potential of seeing some showers really picking up into the mid-afternoon. There is a threat of some severe weather. A lot of this is going to be gusty winds from some of these storms, widely scattered across the area for the afternoon. That is fantastic right there. Take a moment and look
Beautiful.
at the sunrise.
It's lovely.
It is beautiful. Temperatures right now expected to be into the mid to upper 80s with thunder showers for the afternoon. Another fantastic shower. We're on a roll, people. We'll go out on the Billion Auto Weather patio coming up in a little bit and break down your complete forecast in just about 12 minutes.
Thank you, Matt. 6:31 now. This week, the Bozeman Public School Superintendent recommended a way to get kids back in class, calling it a blended plan.
MTN's Cody Boyer caught up with parents downtown as they voiced their concerns.
It was the voices of not only parents, but as you can see behind me, their socially distanced children as well, rallying against the blended plan that was recommended by Bozeman Public School Superintendent earlier this week.
Back to school.
I feel that it's very important for our students to be back in school learning in the classroom.
Wearing masks, Bozeman parents appeared on the steps of the Wilson building, family after family. They included Carrie McClaury and her two elementary students, each holding signs, wanting more than 2 days of in-person classes.
I feel like the students need more consistency than that. Just getting back in the flow of things after being off of school for an extended time is difficult not only for the kids but for the teachers.
Back to school.
You're sending kids into places where there's economic stresses from families, and they're going to feel that.
Carolyn Wiseman, who has two elementary students and an 8th grader of her own, also joined them. She gets distance learning, but looks to Belgrade's example. More class time, not less.
I can distance learn with my children. I stay home with my kids. You're exacerbating the education inequality between the lower class and the middle class, and it's really unfair.
Others like Heather Klein also joined their kids, citing another issue, lower to middle class family balance and parents having to work on dual incomes.
85% of parents that were surveyed wanted their kids to go back full time, and the fact that Bob Connors is recommending something completely in opposition of the majority is really disappointing to me.
Many car horns honked and the kids kept chanting,
Back to school.
hoping for a positive step forward Thursday morning.
Hopefully there will be a good turnout tomorrow so the school board can see, and I know a ton of letters are being written.
In Bozeman, Cody Boyer, MTN News.
And the school board does still plan to meet again. That happens this morning, opening the discussion that could lead to a final decision. More parents plan on returning for another rally in the same place starting at 8 a.m.
In other headlines this morning, U.S. Census Bureau says it will stop its counting efforts for the 2020 census on September 30th. That's a month earlier than originally planned. For Montana, that's not good news. Thousands of Montanans are likely to go uncounted, and state officials are asking the Fed to reconsider the deadline. MTN's Mike Dennison picks up the story.
As of this week, only 56% of Montana households had responded to the 2020 census, one of the lowest response rates in the nation. Montana has a plan to reach those who haven't replied, but that plan was based on an October 31st deadline. If that deadline is sooner, state officials are worried Montana's count will be inaccurately low, and that means federal aid and other benefits will be cut short for the next decade.
It is very important that we get an accurate count, because if we don't get an accurate count, that just means those dollars aren't going to come here, and it's going to go someplace else, to some other state.
The Census Bureau announced Monday it's stopping the count on September 30th, so it can meet a December 31st deadline for getting the numbers compiled. Both of Montana's U.S. Senators and Governor Bullock have demanded that the Bureau reverse its decision. Montana also had hoped to gain a new congressional seat next year because of its population growth the past 10 years. But if the count is incomplete, officials say that gain is unlikely. Cooney, who chairs the state Complete Count Committee, says the census doesn't mail notices to post office boxes or rural route addresses. That's as many as 25% of Montanans. But the coronavirus pandemic has restricted other efforts to reach those who didn't get a mailed notice. The state hired several groups to conduct outreach, but they expected to have more time. And if people don't contact the census by the deadline?
They're not counted. It's just that simple. They don't exist in the eyes of the census. It means that, if one person is not counted, Montana loses about $20,000 over a 10-year period. And when you start adding that up, so if it's 10 people, 20 people, 100 people, 1,000 people who don't get counted, starts to add up to be real money for the state of Montana.
Reporting from Helena, Mike Dennison, MTN News.
And it's super, super easy, by the way. If you haven't been counted yet, you can call the Census Bureau. We have that number. We also have a link to the Census Bureau website on our websites, KBZK and KXLF.com.
The Dillon Interagency Dispatch Center reports the Old Baldy fire not far from Twin Bridges is still burning at 129 acres. The fire is burning within the existing perimeter thanks to favorable weather. Crews will continue to mop up any spots and will attempt to hold the fire on the east side with the aid of helicopters. Several Forest Service roads have been closed in the area of the fire. That includes restrictions on the road to Branham Lakes Campground. We will have a reporter on scene near that fire today to show you the latest on what's happening there.
Also, some other news to pass along. Hot temperatures bring on some fishing restrictions for several rivers in southwest Montana. Udall restriction prohibits fishing from 2 in the afternoon until midnight. Those will go into effect today for just parts of the Lower Gallatin, Lower Ruby, the Big Hole, the Lower Beaverhead, and the entire Jefferson River. Permanent yearly hoot owl restriction for the Lower Madison River runs from July 15th through August 15th.
And we have an update on a study that we've been following by the Montana Department of Transportation. MDT hosted 2 virtual open houses yesterday for residents and people who travel through the area. The department is taking a look at Highway 84 in Madison County to figure out solutions to make the roadway safer and have less accidents. The virtual meeting informed people on what MDT hopes to accomplish through the study, things to keep in mind, as well as answer any questions.
We use studies to explore options for improving the road. Construction is not guaranteed. We may find that all our options are too costly to pursue. Studies help MDT identify feasible solutions. This involves finding the most cost-effective approach to enhancing safety.
During the meeting, officials said the earliest possible date to begin actual construction won't be until the year 2026.
Well, almost a year after authorities found human remains were discovered near Rimini, investigators have made some determinations, but many questions remain. Forest Service ranger found a human skull in the Minnehaha Creek area on August 7th, 2019. Lewis and Clark County Sheriff Leo Dutton said because of the condition of the remains, it's difficult to identify the person. Pathologists have determined it was a man between the ages of 30 and 60, either Caucasian or Asian. They also believe the remains are modern rather than historical. Sheriff's office has not been able to determine the cause or manner of death. The remains have been sent to the University of North Texas to be analyzed. Now, specialists there will extract DNA and complete a dental analysis, which will then be compared to the national database. Sheriff Dutton says the process has been delayed because the Texas lab is used by agencies nationwide and COVID-19 has slowed its operations.
We should know more when they have the opportunity. I can't give you an exact date, but we're hoping in a month or 2 that we will have a hit on the dental records and the DNA will help us substantially.
Now, Sheriff Dutton says investigators are looking at whether the remains are connected to other missing person cases in Montana, but have had no luck so far. He says the remains are not linked to another unsolved case of human legs found outside of Butte.
With the November election less than 3 months away and the big races too close to call, it's time to talk politics. MTN's lead reporters and political insiders will do just that tonight at 6:30 in a special Facebook Live edition of MTN Politics, the 2020 vote. Veteran anchor and reporter Jay Cohn is joined by MTN Chief Political Reporter Mike Dennison, Democratic consultant Eric Stern, and Republican insider Ashley Strong. So how are the races shaping up for U.S. Senate, U.S. House, and Governor? Who has the upper hand? The experts weigh in and mix it up. This is your invitation to join the conversation tonight at 6:30 on the KBZK and KXLF Facebook page.
Now, also in politics, Steve Daines and Steve Bullock meet for their first debate Saturday night right here on your MTN station.
The battle for your vote continues as Steve Bullock and Steve Daines debate for the first time. Don't miss your chance to watch the candidates tackle the issues side by side.
Montana's U.S. Senate debate is this Saturday, 9 o'clock, right here on KBZK and KXLF.
It is a busy day. There's a news conference this morning with Governor Steve Bullock doing an update on COVID-19 in the state. He'll be joined by Commissioner of Higher Education Clayton Christian to talk about testing at the Montana University system this fall. KBZK and KXLF will carry that live on air and live streamed on our websites. That all starts at 10:30 a.m.
Lots of stuff happening on our opportunities to bring you on our broadcast and on our online services.
Also crazy that we're already coming up on election season. It's just
barreling down
crept
on us.
up so fast.
It is barreling down on us for sure.
And we'll have it all for you.
Yep.
KBZK, KXLF. 6:41 now. Google Doodle, usually fun and playful. It still is, but it's sending a new message about wearing masks. How it's doing that is coming up next. First, though, here's a look at what's happening at 7 on CBS This Morning.
Good morning. Ahead on CBS This Morning, White House trade advisor Peter Navarro joins us. We're going to talk about the stalled negotiations for a coronavirus relief bill and whether President Trump will take action of his own. Also, it is the 75th anniversary of the U.S. bombing of Hiroshima, Japan. Hear from a survivor of the attack whose lifelong goal is to rid the world of nuclear weapons. And in our More Perfect Union series, see what's behind a grassroots movement bringing refrigerators filled with free food to communities in need around the country. We will see you at 7.